This video is about managing load. There are three ways to do that. The first one is to maintain a constant load through all of your sets, or a constant weight. The second is to decrease your load throughout the sets. And the third one is to increase your load. With the first one, your main goal is to create muscle growth and strength, which is where you keep the exact same weight through each of your 3 to 4 sets, traditional bodybuilding. Your second one is to decrease the load throughout your exercise sets with increasing your amount of repetitions or going to total failure. The main goal of that one is to increase the amount of muscular damage that you create, which stresses your nervous system much more intensely, but can, in certain phases, increase the amount of muscular hypertrophy that you get. The third way to manage your load is to increase your load as you go through the sets. And the main goal of this is to work with your central nervous system to increase your overall strength. Usually, if you're maintaining a constant load, you'll stay somewhere in the 8 to 12 repetition range. If you're decreasing load, you go anywhere between 6 to 12 repetitions, and then your last set will be a 20 to 50 repetition to really crank on the load at the end and increase your muscular damage. And if you're increasing your load, you'll usually end up somewhere in the 1 to 6 repetition range, 1 to 5, 1 to 6 repetition range, so that you get stronger through each subsequent set to maximally recruit your muscle fibers. Beyond those loading parameters, there are a couple points when we look at what's called the critical drop-off point. The critical drop-off point is when you are so fatigued that the sets that you're doing are no longer of any benefit to you. So an average person may go through a 2% roughly drop for each set that they do. So as an example, if you go to, and I'm not going to do the math this quickly, but let's say that you're lifting 100 pounds in a dumbbell bench press. Well, if you're going to drop off by 2%, 2% of 100 is 2. So on your next set, you may only be able to lift 98 pounds. And then your next set after that, you may only be able to lift 96 pounds as an example in a traditional strength training. If you are doing maximal strength, which is anywhere above 85% of your 1 rep max, you are going to call your critical drop-off point when your strength drops by 5 to 7%, and that's even with the 2 to 3 minute rest. If you're doing traditional strength training, which would be for hypertrophy as an example, so you're in the 8 to 12 repetition range, your critical drop-off point is 20%. So let's review those numbers. Your expected drop-off is about 2% per set, no matter what you do. In maximal strength training, which is strength training above 85%, you want to stop if you drop 5 to 7% off of whatever the maximum number that you're lifting is, despite having added rest. If you're doing traditional strength training with 8 to 12 repetitions, if your strength drops by 20%, which could either be in weight or repetitions on any of those, that's your critical drop-off point, and you should stop right there, or you're just fatiguing your nervous system. So constant load will build strength and hypertrophy. Decreasing your load over time will build hypertrophy and increase strain. Increasing your load over time will work your nervous system, and then make sure that you pay attention to your critical drop-off points to know when to stop.